GamingBolt presents 14 best boss units in video games. We've seen bosses that are tough to take down, bosses that could be one-shot, and bosses that are outright jokes. However, there have been a fair number of games with teams of bosses, cooperating, getting along, and maybe even bantering throughout the hero's adventure. You may not fight them all at once, but their identity as a unit helps them stand out. Let's take a look at these 14 best boss units in gaming. VALKYRIES, God of War PS4. The Valkyries are a side mission / quest chain that players can follow, ultimately leading to the Valkyrie Queen Sigrun. The 8 Valkyries consist of Gunnar, Kara, Geirful, Aurun, Eir, Gondel, Rhoda, and Hildur. Each have their own distinct attacks, from Kara's summoning of Draugr to fight for her, to Eir's powerful wing shield, Rhoda's neck stomping, and Hildur's ice attacks. Sigrun combines these various styles together, thus making her a worthy adversary to cap it all off. Elite Four, Pokemon Red and Blue. Generations of elite Pokemon trainers come and go, but the Elite Four of the first generation will live forever. There's just so much to like about this weird cast of fighters. Lorelei starts with ice Pokemon, but things quickly take a turn when you encounter the shirtless martial artist Bruno and his fighting Pokemon. Next is Agatha, an old lady who uses ghost Pokemon, along with Golbat and Arbok for some reason. Lance, the dragon Pokemon trainer, tops it off with a powerful Dragonite. The Beauty and the Beast unit, Metal Gear Solid 4. From their first revealed trailer, the Beauty and the Beast unit of Screaming Mantis, Laughing Octopus, Raging Raven, and Crying Wolf made us fall in love. Granted, their origin stories were tragic, highlighting the effects of PTSD, morphing these innocent women into horrifying monsters meant for killing. Still, knowing that they worked for Outer Heaven while still acting unhinged and wiping out entire squads of soldiers always intrigued us throughout Metal Gear Solid 4. Foxhound, Metal Gear Solid. This isn't the Foxhound that Roy Campbell would command, but rather led by Liquid Snake. Aside from their boss's cunning and shredded abs, Foxhound had some pretty dangerous folk. Sniper Wolf was one of the best snipers in the world, Psycho Mantis literally stopped you from playing the game unless you resorted to trickery, Revolver Ocelot could ricochet bullets and played his fair share of torture games, and Vulcan Raven possessed insane firepower. Aside from their awesome characterization, each one also posed a tough challenge to Snake. Dead Cell, Metal Gear Solid 2. For all their quirks, Liquid Snake's Foxhound seemed fairly bombastic, what with the girl raised by wolves becoming a sniper, the guy whose tattoos attacked people, and the other guy with telekinesis. Dead Cell in Metal Gear Solid 2 goes even further with Fat Man, a demolitions expert on roller skates, and Vamp, a killer that seems immortal and has superhuman reflexes. Fortune is probably the most plausible since she has a device that causes bullets to bend around her. However, she does manage to deflect Metal Gear Ray's missiles without it, so we don't really know what to think. Then there's Solidus Snake, who's yet another son of Big Boss. What would a Metal Gear game be without one? Cobra Unit, Metal Gear Solid 3. The Cobras, sons of the boss, whatever you want to call them, are deadly. The key members were the Pain, the Fear, the Sorrow, the End, and the Fury. How could they upend the badassery of Foxhound and Dead Cell? Well, the Pain controlled hornets and towered over his foes. The Fury was a flame soldier that could resist all kinds of fire damage, and the End is best killed by waiting a week, or as you guessed, via trickery. Sure, the Fear basically relied on stealth camouflage and poison, but the Sorrow was a friggin' ghost, and the boss breaks Naked Snake's arms like they're cotton candy. All in all, a really tough group to deal with. Axem Rangers, Super Mario RPG. Though short-lived, the Axem Rangers immediately made an impact on Mario's fledgling adventure. Obviously a parody to Super Sentai, the 5 would serve as an incredibly tough battle after the Tsar Dragon, especially if you didn't take the time to heal beforehand. Power Ranger-esque lines aside, the Axem Rangers were pretty fun to fight against, especially when taken as evil complements to Mario's party. 4 Guardians of Neo Arcadia, Mega Man Zero. The 4 Guardians of Neo Arcadia, serving under Copy X and created using DNA of the original, consisted of Sage Harpuia, Fairy Leviathan, Fighting Fafnir, and Hidden Phantom, and they all fought in various awesome ways. Phantom's quickness and shurikens, Leviathan's underwater prowess, Harpuia's flight, Fafnir's projectile spam. Each Guardian was further backed by some surprisingly memorable characterization that persisted throughout the series. United Assassins Association. No more heroes. Whether they exist or not, the United Assassins Association was full of some crazy and dangerous characters like Let's Shake, Holly Summers, Dr. Peace, Death Metal, Darkstar, and Bad Girl. Given how the story eventually shakes out, it's interesting how they ended up. Let's Shake is killed by Henry, Darkstar is killed by Jean, who becomes the #1 ranked assassin, and Holly kills herself with a grenade. Bad Girl probably has the best death though, refusing to surrender even with a beam sword through her body. Shadaloo, Street Fighter II. Back when fighting games were still relatively immature, Street Fighter II's Shadaloo was the apex in terms of the genre's boss units. Sagat was fueled by vengeance for Ryu, and had 2 different projectile stances. Balrog was a fast yet hard hitter, and Vega cut deep while using the background cage for support. They were topped off by the big bad himself, M. Bison, who unleashed a torrent of powerful moves on unwitting players. This typical evil organization expanded its ranks in later titles, but in the beginning it was all about the original 4. The Greek Pantheon, God of War 3. Aside from the big boss Zeus, we have Hades with his undead prowess, and Poseidon who will fight back against all of the Titans at once because he can. Hermes is sort of tricky with his speed until Kratos rips off his legs, and Helios is good at harnessing the power of the sun, again before Kratos rips off his head. In hindsight though, maybe Zeus really didn't stand a chance. Organization 13, Kingdom Hearts. There's nothing better we'd like to do than try and not keep track of the Kingdom Hearts story. Regardless, Organization 13 remains endearing as this group of baddies that are sometimes evil oddities and sometimes misunderstood emotional beings. Zion from 305.8 over 2 days is an excellent example of this. Kingdom Hearts 2 arguably has the most memorable of the bunch, starting with the rambunctious Axel, the enigmatic Roxas, the irritating Dimix, and the villainous Xemnas. Apex Predators, Titanfall 2. Titanfall 2's single-player campaign was surprisingly awesome, thanks in no small part to the Apex Predators. The antagonistic group hounds Cooper and BT-7274 whenever possible, starting with Kane's Scorch-class Titan and classy abuse. Things only get weirder when Ash, a simulacrum pilot with a Ronin-class Titan, conducts her twisted experiments. Richter channels Arnold Schwarzenegger, and that will never not be awesome. Then there's Viper, who flits about in the most annoying way possible with his North Star, and Sloane, who actually puts up a half-decent fight with Ion. All of them are led by Blisk, and quite frankly, who doesn't love Blisk? Torna, Xenoblade Chronicles 2. Torna serves as the main antagonistic group in Xenoblade Chronicles 2, as evidenced when its leader Jin stabs Rex right through the chest to kickstart the plot. Other members of the group include, in true anime fashion, the hot-headed Malos, the no-nonsense Petroka, the arrogant Mikhail, and the nerdy Akos, and the childish Nia, who would defect later on, and you've got quite the unit. The story of Xenoblade Chronicles 2 can be a little confusing for those who skipped the first game, but with Torna wielding blades called Flesh Eaters and plotting to destroy the World Tree, it's easy to see that they mean business. And that about does it for this video. If you enjoyed what you watched and want to see more from GamingBolt, you can always hit that subscribe button and turn on the bell icon next to it. That way you will never miss any of our videos.